I want to thank those of you who have been on the bus for these last several days, making your way up the state, bringing this important message to all corners of the state. It's what is so important to make sure that we ultimately get victory. Because when we're talking about getting collective bargaining rights for child care providers, we're really talking about something that should matter to all of us. It isn't just about, although it is about as well, making sure that everybody has a say in the conditions and the compensation that they work with. But at the end of the day, it's about making sure that our young people have access to the type of quality child care that's going to make a difference in their lives. And when I see these providers, that's exactly what I see. People who have such an amazing commitment in caring for our young people that they want to provide them the best future that they can possibly have. And when I look at these young men and women on stage in their caps and gowns, I got to tell you that the first thing I remembered was being a Head Start kid on the east side of LA, and the difference that I know that early childhood education made in my life, not only for me, but for my parents, making sure that they had the support and the resources that they needed to do the best job of parenting. So what we're talking about is also making sure that working families have the peace of mind to know that when they're working, their children are getting quality child care, and they're getting it in a way that helps their early childhood development as well. We know that it makes a difference not only in terms of graduation rates and outcomes in life, but it makes a difference in their long-term job prospects. We've done a lot together. We have been fighting on this front together for a few years, but we also know that we have come a long way. A few years ago, the fight was to protect stage 3 child care, to make sure that we had just the basics of being able to provide the services that we're talking about. We had to fight, and ultimately the Assembly had to cut its own operating budget and partner with First 5 providers around the state to make sure that we could protect child care for 60,000 families around the state that were in jeopardy of losing it. That was an important victory then. But we're no longer at that moment of economic crisis where we have to ask the question, can we find the money to fund child care? Now it's a question of, can we find the will to invest in the future of all these young people? Last year we increased our funding for a variety of areas, and we were proud of our increases in education funding and in early education funding, but it didn't go far enough. This year we're at a place where we have multi-billion-dollar reserves. And we've got to be careful, and we've got to save up for a rainy day. But we can't do it at the expense of these young people. And we cannot do it at the expense of the child care providers who have given so much in the times of crisis. So I want to thank you for being here, for caring enough about this issue to make sure that you bring your voices to the Capitol, to spur my colleagues and I into action, and ultimately to get the governor to sign legislation that'll make a true difference in the state of California. Thank you all.
Thank you.